Okay, so I didn't manage to upload the videos, which means something still is not 100% calibrated inside of me, and it's harder for me to regulate my emotions than I thought. Why? Because I'm having a really intense period of time. I'm not saying it as an excuse, I'm saying it as an indicator in order for me to treat myself as my own case study. So I hope you can get an example out of it, because it happens. Because I'm in a process that in this process I'm working among the rest on self-regulating in post-trauma, because this is what I'm experiencing right now. So I understand the mechanism. In order for me to go through it fluidly, yes, I need to understand the mechanism, okay? And if you can relate, I will be happy for you to tell me in the comments, in the, I don't know if there is in the email I put, I think, comments. Let's start with the comments, and of course feel free to subscribe for more content like this. Right now I'm treating myself as my own case study, so we'll see how it goes from there. I was having a few very intense days for several reasons that I will explain in the future, and it's positive, but it was very stressful, to the point that I almost neglected myself, which means that most of my habits, which I usually do, like sports and self-regulating, because I do have techniques that I use on a daily basis, and my calmness and all of my logic, let's say, okay, sort of turned off. And it happens because our prefrontal cortex is our logical center, and while in high stress, anxiety, which I had, etc., it turns down the volume, and what takes control of ourselves is the amygdala, which is the fear and stress, if I'm not mistaken, center. So the logical part goes down, and the stressful part and the fear part starts taking control, because it thinks it's in a life-threatening situation, so that I'm in a life-threatening situation, for example, so it acts like it's supposed to have a fight or flight response. This is why the adrenaline and cortisol levels skyrocket, and my logical mind is very weak, radiating, very weak, I'm sorry, signals, sends very weak signals. Because right now, this is what happens in anxiety. Our mind thinks, let's say there is a tiger in front of us, so it acts like it. But with anxiety, there isn't a tiger. Our mind can't tell the difference between reality and imagination, if the imagination is strong and accurate enough. So in anxiety, it creates a loop, stress and adrenaline loop, okay, which means a constant fight or flight response. And when the stress and adrenaline and the stress is too much, then it also triggers a freeze response, which I was in a freeze response, which means I can look, me, you, whatever, can look very calm. However, the adrenaline levels and the cortisol levels are skyrocketing within inside, because it is a very primitive mechanism that its purpose is to prevent from a predator in the nature, let's say, kill us or do something to us. It's a defense mechanism. So, how am I speaking right now? I'm looking sort of calm because I understood it. And once I understood it, I was able to go through it. Of course, it takes practice. I'm still working on it, but it's much easier than you think, because when anxiety levels are skyrocketing, it can feel like it's going to be like this forever, because it blinds us from everything else. It creates tunnel vision, and we can see all black and just look for survival. It's survival mode, you can say. And while this is happening, it's very hard to see good options or even other options other than surviving right now. Everything looks crucial other than right now. So it's important to understand it, because once you understand the steps to go through it, You can train yourself, coach yourself to go through it very, very easily. So the more I practice it, now that I'm conscious of it, okay, that it happens in X and Y situations, which 90-something% of my life at this point is I self-regulate normally, but the edges where the adrenaline is really high and it's anxiety or panic attack, whatever, which happens to me rarely these days, but in the past it happened to me a lot, then now I see that still I have nuances to work on. So I say, okay, I need to go through it. And it feels like hell when you go through it, because everything hurts. My mind and my body tells me, stop, Tal, stop, Tal is my name, stop. And when I don't stop, it creates tension. But on the other side of this tension, there is an emotional and mental resilience that is almost uncomparable. So this is why I uploaded the video today, because my mind told me, Tal, you already missed, I don't know, 4 or 5 videos. What good is your word? But then I said, okay, let's look at the circumstances. Something happened that prevented me, that even if I prevented from myself from doing it, but I want to do it, right? Because I still think about it, I still want to do it. It wasn't a wimp, I really want to do it. So in that case, I need to understand what happened, like to reverse engineer it and to see where things fell off. And now that I saw that it was just too much for me because the habit wasn't implemented yet, so it will be active, let's say, in high stress situations, this was the problem. So I said, okay, this is why it happened. Let's work on that. How can I work on that? First of all, I just upload the first video that comes to mind. My mind can think about something to talk about right now that was in my, let's say, syllabus. Okay, let's talk about what's happening now. To deal with what's happening now is the way to go through it. So I need to expose myself emotionally, as I'm doing right now, and take ownership of my mistakes of not uploading X, Y, and Z to gain my own credibility for myself. So I can believe myself, so I can see that I can take responsibility, take accountability, work on myself, and go through it. And then to rebuild my integrity, let's say, about this case, specific case, because I have integrity, but sometimes it's like, it's in certain situations X, certain situations Y, so I got a message or I got confused. I hope it was clear. Feel free to share with me in the comments if you felt something similar, and I will continue Wednesday from the exact same place that I will be in. Yes, good luck, I love you, and talk to me.